I guess many of you could recognize a familiar character here. Who is she?
Cinderella.
Yes, right. Our lovely Cinderella running down the stairs just because of her time limit, 12 o'clock. Then, who put the magic on her and warned not to be late?
Fairy godmother.
Yes, the fairy godmother. After this 12 o'clock that the fairy godmother set for our Cinderella, she'll be a normal girl again. Now, enough of the story time. But while looking at this scene, a similar situation popped out of my head. Just like them. Staring at their phones and laptops just to get the item they want with the time-limited sale. Oh my god, everyone! I need to buy this right away! It's until 12 o'clock! Let's be serious. I guess many of you have also experienced this kind of situation, like the Cinderella. Raise your hand if you have this kind of experience. I can see many who raise their hands. Like some of you who raise their hands, we, consumers, easily encounter these kind of sales while wandering around the internet and social media. Hot deal. Until 12 o'clock, buy it now and don't regret. Then the consumers obviously say, whoa, not that much time left. Maybe this will be useful for me. Or, it's sale time. It sounds cheap. Maybe someday I'm gonna use it. But first, before the time is over, I have to buy it. Companies usually use this mind of the consumers to persuade us with the disposable sale events and lures us to buy the product. One important thing here, they set a time limit to put pressure on us. Just like the fairy godmother who put a 12 o'clock time limit to Cinderella. Then the consumers themselves become a Cinderella who has no choice but to follow the time limit. So basically, it's all about time. With the example of Cinderella, we can just say that this 12 o'clock is a symbol of the time limit that the companies put to us. In the marketing field, we call this business strategy the limited time offer. The limited time offer creates an urgent situation where it seems necessary to decide quickly and thus seek to change the behavior of those who are persuaded. And this is also a scarcity strategy. Scarcity can be distinguished by quantity scarcity and time scarcity. Quantity-limited messages makes consumers' mind in a hurry by limiting the quantity of product available, while time-limited messages stresses that the time left room is limited to acquire resources, just like 12 o'clock, thus creating a psychological pressure for a quick purchase decision. Commonly, we think this is a complete benefit. You will eventually think that this is a great chance to get something at a discounted price. Imagine that you see a pop-up ad of your favorite cafe suggesting you a 30% discount till 12 o'clock. As soon as you see the word discount, you will have a smile on your face, don't you? Who will not going to accept this kind of deal? And this is not the end. The companies will also going to mention that this is the last deal and that you will never going to see this product at this price again. Then the consumers will say, wow, a sale just for me, and then click the order button. After buying the product suddenly, you will still have some happiness inside of you, a psychological fullness. And plus, it is also time efficient too. All you have to do is to watch a pop-up ad on your phone whenever you use it and decide whether to buy it or not. Cheap and time efficient. And a little bit of excitement due to the urgency. How simple and reasonable, isn't it? But we have to consider whether following this time-limited sale is rational spending. Do you think following this time-limited sale is rational? Well, if you ask me, I don't really think so. We are getting so used to the benefits that the companies focus on themselves, not us, the consumers, but the companies. To earn more profit and to sell more products, the only thing these companies have to do is to set a time-limited ad and write some tempting words for it. Then they'll just wait for the consumers to be caught in a net of sale. Then how about us, consumers? In the aspect of a consumer, do you think following this time-limited sale is a good spending habit? Aren't we being lured by those companies who wants to empty their storage? Or aren't we being taken by those honeyed words the companies present to us? To get the answer for these questions, we have to get through the process of rational thinking first. In the process of buying a product rationally, most people said 5 steps: problem recognition, information search, evaluation of alternatives, purchase decision, and review. Firstly, problem recognition. Here, we recognize a need and feel the difference between our actual state and desired state. Then, once the need is recognized, we move into the information search stage, where we try to find goods to satisfy such needs from various sources. Then, with the information in hand, consumers proceeds alternative evaluation, during which the information is used to evaluate brands in the choice set. Generally, most consumers evaluate these alternatives on the basis of attributes of the product, the degree of importance, and satisfaction. And now it's nearly the end. We finally decide whether to buy it or not based on the previous stages. And lastly, we review. Here's where cognitive dissonance occurs. Did I make the right decision? But with the time-limited sale, you've got to skip 3 of these stages: problem recognition, information search, and evaluation of alternatives. You're only allowed to decide whether to buy it or not and review whether the money was worthwhile. And since you have shortened your spending process into 2, you can easily fall into regret that you've made an impulsive and irrational decision. While others are spending their time searching for a rational product and legitimizing their choices, you are just focusing on the urgency due to the 12 o'clock time limit. Now, ask yourselves again. Do you think following this time-limited sale is rational? Remember, the person who has to benefit the most by using your own money is yourself, no one else. Of course, this 12 o'clock may be special and worthy. However, we now know that this time limit tries to cut our rational thinking process. The way we choose to be efficient may leave us with absent-mindedness. But it is true that you still have the right to choose a rational purchase decision regardless of the approaching 12 o'clock of time limit. Lastly, let's go back to our lovely Cinderella. Even though she impulsively rushed with a 12 o'clock time limit that the fairy godmother gave, the prince eventually came back and brought her glass heels back with love. Happy ending. Then how about us? By following those 12 o'clocks the companies present to us, we will be left with nothing but an empty wallet. Sad ending. But now, since we know the steps to make a rational decision, we can change our ending. Not an ending with a regret, but an ending with a satisfaction. We can also have a happy ending like the Cinderella. Now, it's your turn to decide. Would you rather be a person with an empty wallet or be a rational Cinderella with a happy ending? It's up to you. Thank you very much.